Welcome to the Ugly Truth. Oh boy, let's just start adjusting the microphone the instant I start recording.
You must be awkward.
Hey, so are you excited about participating in the Fantasy Football League?
That was intimidating.
It was.
To me. I had no idea what I was doing.
I didn't either. I never do. And I always hate my team the second it's over. Like the second.
Well,
and Daryl's like, she's going to pick all Raiders. And I'm like,
me?
Yeah. And I'm like, no, she's not. But you picked a couple.
Well, I picked a couple. I picked Devontae Adams.
Yes.
And I did pick another Raider. But I didn't pick them because they were Raiders.
Where they were available.
No. Well, I mean, they had I think that's the whole idea of fantasy football is like independently players are great, but you can't win a game if you're the only one that's good at your position, right? Or if your coaching sucks or whatever.
Right.
So in my mind, I'm like, okay, so conceivably these people are all playing on one team and they all have the best stats that I could get, for my pick spot, how I was sixth or whatever.
I was fifth.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Is that random?
Yes, it's random.
Okay,
drawn.
I figured. Yeah. So I mean, I just did the best I could, and it took me a couple rounds before I understood what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah. Well, they change it every year. ESPN updates their drafting software.
Okay.
So it felt different even for me. And I've done this a couple of years now. And so I'm like, okay, I'm confused. And then whenever it's like, you're on the clock, go. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and then I started looking ahead because I'm like, okay, I know it's going to be me soon. So then I was like looking. But
it's really, and then, having two quarterbacks is new.
Okay. And that was the other thing.
So I only got two. I should have gotten four. I didn't realize.
I think I only got two too.
I didn't know. So now
and then I saw you pick
crap.
a kicker because you were right before me. So I was glad. So then I started looking to see what you picked.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, Jamie picked a kicker. I need a kicker. I'm like, oh my God.
The thing is that when you can tell you're like, okay, I have shitty quarterbacks. So I better find the best of this division instead. I better get the best kicker or the best defense or the best running back or whatever. Because wide receivers and running backs run out right away. Those are the first that everybody picks.
Travis Kelce.
You did get Kelce, which is very good because he's literally
and I got George Kittle too.
Oh my God. See, those are so good.
Yeah.
So you have good tight ends.
I thought I'm like, did I get Justin Jefferson? I don't remember. I think
I wanted him.
I tried to, but I think somebody got it.
I think
Daryl
got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was pissed because I'm like, I wanted that one. Anyway, and that's the other annoying thing. I had a couple queued. I'm like, okay, these are the ones I want to grab. And then they go, bleep, bleep, pick somebody else. I'm like, God damn it. And it's only you or Daryl or, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because I'm in between you both.
I honestly had no idea.
No, it didn't matter. Then I go look, I'm like, fucking A.
I'm like, because I thought, then I was like, well, maybe we can all, we can have the same players.
No.
Like maybe I can have Travis Kelce and so can you. Because I was like, how did I get him? And no one else, I was shocked.
Because people don't pick tight ends right away. And statistically, he's not the best tight end.
No, he's not the best. I mean, for me, I wasn't necessarily going for the best in the league or the best whatever.
You need the highest point.
I don't know. For me, football is kind of like a feeling.
Of course.
I mean, and it's really
a lot of people do that. There's one guy that we're playing with who picks all Seattle or 49ers. He just, because that's his team. So he's like, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, basically. Yeah. And a lot of people do that. It's just, that's the whole fun of fantasy football.
I think my quarterbacks are...
Oh God, I have the worst quarterback, Stephanie.
Yeah, I think I got Carson. No, was that his name? I can't remember. It's a C guy, and he's okay. I mean, he's switched teams a couple of times, and I can't remember who my other quarterback is to save my life.
I have Aaron Rodgers.
He's not, Jimmy, he's good.
Stephanie, he's 45.
I know, but Tom Brady was 43.
And he also hurt himself running out on the field like a moron.
That was funny.
I hurt myself forever. And I'm like, great.
He was out for this season.
Running out on the field.
That was funny. I remember that. I was like, was this an excuse?
No.
So he didn't have to play?
He's old. That's the excuse.
He's got such a fucking ego. It's like, let it go.
I don't know.
He
but now
thinks he's going to win one more Super Bowl. I'm like, you're not Tom Brady.
No.
You're Tom.
I heard Tom Brady is keeping in shape. And I'm like, for what?
Why not? He's divorced now.
He can do whatever he wants.
He's like, he already lost it all.
I'm like, listen, unless you're playing for the Raiders, I don't want you doing anything. Can we just let these legends go and let the young people struggle for a couple years and then we'll have a new set of legends?
I know.
Patrick Mahomes can't be the best guy that's available.
Not forever.
Jesus criminy.
Yeah.
I mean, please.
Who got him?
I have no idea.
Oh.
You know what?
He was gone. I never even saw him, I don't think.
All I know is that if you hit quarterbacks too early, you're screwed.
Yeah. Why?
Because they're not the ones that they're not the ones that acquire the most points in our league. It's running backs and wide receivers.
Okay.
And so quarterbacks go way late. And so, like, that's why Christian McCaffrey was number 1 and he got snatched immediately, you know, because those are the guys that, and Jefferson, those are their first round picks.
Yeah.
Unless you're in the top 3, you're not going to get them. And so then you just got to get what you can get.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hate my team so much. Daryl's like, I rate your team. It's a solid B. And I'm like, ugh. Shut up.
Well, I can be.
And you compete. You play against Daryl this week.
Oh, I do. Well, see, now I have to learn
Your first matchup.
So great.
Yeah. It'll be good though. This is all learning. This is
No,
all
it
learning.
is. Then that's the thing is I probably have a shitty year. That's fine because it's my first. You never know.
Sometimes it's dumb luck. I ended up in the championship my first time.
Really?
Yep. And I even won the second year. So,
wow. What do you win? Just
money. A shit ton of money.
Well, I haven't put any money in.
We're fronting you this year since you're new.
Wait, why did you tell me?
Because
I put the money in.
Because you were doing us a solid because we needed more players.
I don't even know. I honestly no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's fine.
So anyway, yes, I'm very excited, and I will figure it out.
Yes,
oh,
you
so
will.
Daryl's the black holers.
What a name.
I know. Oh, Kirk Cousins. That's who I got.
Oh, okay.
So I got
All
Kirk Cousins. I got Derek Prescott.
Oh, Dak Prescott. Yeah.
Dak, yeah, whatever his name is. Kamara. He's the New Orleans running
Alvin
back.
Kamara.
So I only got 2 freaking quarterbacks too. Just like you.
And I guess I need 2
Kirk
more.
Cousins
I don't know.
and
Or
Prescott.
Well, I think what I'll do is I need to pick one up that has a different bye week so that I can switch it out.
And if it has a little red Q next to him, does that mean they're questionable?
Yeah, but everybody's questionable. And you can click on it.
Devontae Adams wasn't questionable when I chose him.
You can click on it and read why. It's fine, and you have plenty of backups. If there's a little O or IL, then you're screwed, and then you need to move them out of your active lineup and put in somebody from your bench.
Oh damn. Okay. Oh, so will it tell me though?
Yeah, you just click on it and go, why are you questionable? It'll be like, oh, he's nursing a sprain, but he should be fine for game day. It's they do that. Sometimes I asked Daryl about that once, and he said sometimes teams do that just to kind of let the other team know that
he tweaks something on practice.
Well, there you
practice
go.
on Wednesday, but
Yeah.
he's
fine.
To,
Yeah, he'll be
expected
fine.
to play. They just don't, especially in preseason, they really don't want you. If you tweaked something, the last thing they want you to do is play a preseason game and fuck it up.
Exactly.
They're like, no, just sit it out. And
exactly. And I mean, very rarely do the starters play very much in the preseason. I mean, they get a couple of little reps in and then they're done.
Yeah.
And then it's just all these
Which
people
is always fun.
and everybody's fighting for their life after that.
I know, huh?
I like it.
And I
just want to play the roster.
For sure. Hey,
I want to hit the 53.
It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
It's like
I love watching
It's like auditioning for a part, and you're, everybody's a superstar. And it's like, you get so few opportunities to show the coaching staff what you can do.
I know.
That, that's like, this is my time,
I
can't fuck it up.
I love watching the preseasons just to see the number 70 plus 80 plus number jerseys.
Seriously.
Working their ass off.
Generally speaking, in the preseason, they are playing the best of the second, third, fourth strings. So
yes.
They're not playing the shitty guys.
No.
And just be like, go ahead, have fun. No. They want the second,
they're
third,
working.
fourth. Yeah, they're like, let's see what you can do if you were in a real game. What would happen if I used you?
I just, the thing, I think Hard Knocks really, I just had such an affinity for those players who are so hungry, and then they're like, well, I made the practice team, which is still really good.
It's still really good.
Because you could get pulled at any second.
You never know.
Anyway, I love playing fantasy because it keeps me engaged
Yeah.
in the season. And when the Raiders aren't playing, I'm still engaged.
True.
And I like watching it. And now because of, betting and fantasy, all the points, like when you're watching, there'll be like top fantasy points today so far, running backs, and they'll tell you in the list who's
now
doing
I'll
really,
be watching
really
all
well.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super fun. So I enjoy it. I've been playing fantasy for years and years and years, and I just love it.
I never had, and all my friends do. Well, of course, all my friends are guys, and so all of my guy friends have always played fantasy football. But I always just thought it was over my head, and like I'm like, I can't play this game.
Not at all. It's really not hard at all.
Now that I've been picked, thanks to these shows, all these shows that we've watched, where you really get to know players that aren't the George Kittles and all those guys, and it's like
I mean,
everybody's great. Nobody really sucks.
I can't remember. This was before Daryl and I were married, so it was 100 years ago. But my friend Barry, he's like, I'm going to teach everybody how to play fantasy. It was all the women in the office, and we're like, all right. So I will never forget my very first pick was Pittsburgh Steelers Jerome Bettis. He's like, all right, Bettis it is. And I'm like, is that good? He goes, it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
And I'm like, okay. And so I did terrible. Horrible. I lost my $5. But I didn't care. I'm like, well, now I'm hooked. And back then there wasn't
probably doing it on a piece of paper. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like literally he would post a paper every Tuesday.
That's a lot of work.
He would post a paper on Tuesdays. These are the rankings. This is how everyone's doing.
Man, that's a diehard person right there.
Oh man. And
we had to write it down and follow all the stats and everything.
And we had to turn in our weekly lineup to him on a piece of paper. And he did all that work.
Wow.
So then when it got to a point where he's like, hey, do you want to, there's an empty spot. A guy just stopped showing up because he's old and we think he died.
Oh,
and I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, okay, you could be part of it. So I was the only woman in their league. And it was my first or second season. And I was going to the championship.
You were like, holy shit.
And they were all like, we cannot let her win. So they literally cheated.
Hey!
They cheated so that I wouldn't win.
Aww.
They're like, you can't win. We're sorry.
Shut up.
I'm like, I want to win the $500. They're
Hell
like, no.
Yeah.
But I did win a nice chunk for coming in second.
God, right? Well, if I happen to get lucky, I will pay you guys back for my interest fee.
That's fine.
Because I was trying to figure out why we were doing. I'm like, well, what's the point of this and everything?
Money?
Like, I didn't know. I just thought it was bragging rights.
No.
Like, yay, I won.
No, it is not. It is money.
So it's serious business.
Yeah. So anyway, so I have had insomnia for 4 days. Super fun. Today I feel a whole lot better. I slept in and I think I've officially caught up on all of my sleep. It has been dire. Dire. And I go through phases like, Stephanie, I was gobbling up valerian root. Gobbling. Like I was
gobbling. Trying to sleep.
Yeah. And it wasn't working. And when valerian root doesn't work, girl, it's bad.
Well, valerian root usually knocks me on my ass, but I am more into melatonin. It's not quite as harsh to me.
Oh no, I take melatonin too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to blame hormones on all of this.
Could be.
And I know it's my algorithm, but now I'm just like everybody between the age of 40 and 55 on my social media is like, are we all in perimenopause? Like, is this happening now? We're like, yeah,
like a global
it freaking
issue
happens
now. Yeah.
because our parents never told us about it.
It's true.
Like I asked mom about it once, like 6 or 7 years ago. I go, is this a hot flash? And she's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, care to share some intel?
We're between 2 and 2.5 years apart.
She's like, well, I had a hysterectomy. I'm like, you still had menopause, bitch.
I know.
Like, what do we do?
The hysterectomy doesn't remove your
God. And she had rage. This woman had rage.
Definitely.
She came to my house once. I don't know. She was probably 50. She came to my house and she's like, that's it. I'm selling everything I own and I'm moving to a condo where I don't have to do anything anymore.
I remember that.
And I go, what happened? She goes, everything happened. And she's like, I'm sick of it. I'm like, all right, go off. And she stood there and she raged for like 30 minutes. And she's like, she looked like, and not that she's not fat, you know that. She looked like Miss Piggy who's furious.
Yeah, she's like, ah!
And
I know,
she's like,
right?
all right, I got to go back. Like she's going into the trenches.
I know, huh? That's how it feels sometimes.
It really does, doesn't it?
I don't know if I'm the only person who does this, but do you ever have like conversations that you anticipate having with someone in your mind? And they may or may never happen, but you're like, if I ever...
Daryl has caught me talking to myself many a time.
Yeah, I have imagined Jerry and I in therapy where I'm telling this woman all these things.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I get it. And Jerry's over here and like, I'm like, see, he's a narcissist. See what I'm saying? You know, like, And it's never going to happen. No. We're not going to therapy, but I'm like, I think it makes me feel better to imagine it.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
Somebody's justifying somebody that doesn't even exist. This is never even happening.
It's hilarious.
But she's like, she's nodding.
So I have this really great idea, and I think maybe you bought one for Lauren. Do you remember those books, Your Body books, where it had the girls, they were animated and they had the little towel on their head and they're like,
sure I did buy one
this is your
for
body.
Lauren.
And yeah, I definitely bought one for my girls.
Yeah.
Well, I told Daryl, I'm like, why isn't there one for women in perimenopause? Like, why don't we have one?
Write it, Jamie.
I am.
You're a good writer.
That's what I was going to say. I'm like, I was telling Daryl, I'm like, how do you think I would go about doing that? He goes, well, I mean, you can illustrate it. You can just compile facts, whatever, because there's so many weird things that they don't tell you are attributed to getting older in women.
That's so true.
We hyper focus on puberty and baby making ages, and then they just completely blow you off. And then like somebody said, hey, did you know that estrogen affects your cholesterol, and when it starts going away your cholesterol goes up? And some woman had the audacity to say, you need to educate yourself. If you don't know that, that's your problem. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't even know that was a question that had to be asked.
Right? Fuck you, bitch.
How would anyone know? Because no one talks about it.
Sure.
It's so freaking annoying.
You only know what you know.
Right.
And it's like, why, everybody's life experiences are different, and you don't know. Maybe somebody's never I hate people like that. No one said
it. No one.
You're not an idiot because you don't know everything.
Well, not only that, but it's like, it's your job to learn. I go, no shit, but no one ever said it. Like, no doctor has ever said to me, by the way, your cholesterol might be elevating because you're getting older. And I'm like, what?
I feel like with doctors, and I've talked about to other people about this, is like they know so many things as fact or as routine in their everyday.
It doesn't occur to them that
it doesn't occur, but it should.
No shit,
right?
Well, there should be a book.
Thank you.
Pamphlet.
Well, there should be a book. I mean, or when they're having conversations with you, instead of just in their mind, like, okay, I got to get to the next patient, I got to write these charts.
Right?
Stop and think about.
For a moment.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm guilty of that too, and I try to remind myself of that when I'm dealing with people. Like, I know everything there is to know about welfare, but they don't.
I remember someone said to me once, this was a while ago, and it really changed my perspective on humans, literally on humans. They said, everybody's learning something at a different timeline.
So true.
So like somebody comes up to you like, hey, did you know blah, blah, blah? And you've known for your whole life, and they're just like, oh my God.
Right. Uh-huh.
For example, someone who's never seen one episode of Making the Team on Country Music Channel when Dallas Cowboys came out, right? The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders making the team. It was on for like 15 seasons.
Yeah, a long time.
I watched every single season. I loved it. I was obsessed with it.
Same.
And then Netflix comes out with this documentary series.
Yeah.
And it's completely different than Making the Team. I liked it.
I did too.
Okay, we never talked about it, actually.
I'm not finished with it yet.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it on our side show.
We should.
Anyway, all these people are like, this is the most toxic thing I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, what? Toxic?
You know what?
But it's because this world is new to them. They've never experienced professional entertainment and what it actually looks like.
If you've been a cheerleader, you do understand that it's a sport.
It's not even cheerleading.
No, you're right.
But these women are entertainers. They're a global brand, which means that very few people are going to fit that role.
Oh my gosh.
So you see all these stunning women who don't make it, and they're like, that was so unfair. I'm like, it actually wasn't unfair. It really isn't. But it's because nobody knows how the hot dog is made.
Right.
All you see is the product on the field, and you see the posters and all that stuff. You have no idea what it takes to get there. And you can blame anything you want, but the reality is there's a reason why there's standards.
Yeah, absolutely.
And very few women fit it.
So true.
That's why they're the best in the business. But it's so fascinating for women who have never seen an episode to go, this is shocking. And I'm like, how do you think it? Angelina Jolie said it once. She goes, there is some woman who's more talented than me living in the Sudan. No one will ever know her name. She says more beautiful, more talented, but because she had the audacity to be born in the Sudan, we'll never know who she is.
Right. That is
There are people who sing better than Mariah Carey. Oh my God. We have to talk about Mariah Carey.
Okay. About her mom and her sister
dying on the same day, Stephanie.
I thought maybe it was a car accident or something.
No.
And then I'm like, I think it was just coincidental.
Her mother was ill in hospice. Her sister, I had no idea had AIDS.
Oh, I didn't either.
And she was on hospice. So her mom passed away. Her sister found out and passed away.
Oh my God, that poor woman. She's got a Las Vegas residency coming up.
And I realized that Mariah had a very strained relationship with her family because they were not very nice to her.
Yeah.
Or just maybe the whole family was dysfunctional.
Well, I think it was dysfunction.
But I don't know if, I mean, that is
and she's biracial. I think she's
a
always
gut
had,
punch, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you, I mean, it's like telling your sister, hey, mom died. Okay. Like what?
I mean, I wonder if she was even present at either or both of their deaths or passings.
I didn't go into depth on the story other than that they both passed away. And I thought too, I thought maybe the sister kind of like maybe ended her life.
Well, I didn't know that her
but I didn't know
ill. I didn't know anything.
I didn't either. And I saw a grainy little video of her sister singing. Talented.
Well, that's not shocking.
Talented.
To me. Yeah.
And she looked like a young Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
With dark hair.
That's so sad.
It's so sad.
See, I mean, people think that AIDS is like cured and everything now, but
not
you can
for everybody.
Still die from it. Yeah.
I mean,
your body, not all bodies take the medicine well.
No.
Some of the side effects are so incredible that you can't take them.
I mean, what a thing. What a weird thing.
That's
and then,
terrible.
okay. And then you wanted to talk about Matthew Perry because
Jamie,
I am absolutely out of my mind. Shocked.
I was so surprised. First of all, kudos to the police department for keeping that investigation so.
They did not.
I just thought that guy overdosed because he'd always been an addict. He'd always had issues.
I honestly thought maybe his heart just gave out.
I mean,
I didn't realize.
I thought it was either an overdose or prolonged use.
I thought it was damage. Like George Michael passed away just from years of damage.
Right.
I didn't realize that Matthew Perry was actively killed.
Well, he actively killed himself.
Well,
but
you know what I mean. Yeah. I mean,
the guy. I mean, in the drug he died from is awful.
First of all,
Special K.
I think the thing that bothered me the most is the way they were speaking about him,
the level of greed
and the level of disrespect.
Oh God, they're like, this guy is such a fucking loser. Basically,
like I cannot with it.
And they're like, look at how much money he's spending. What a joke, you know? I mean,
I'm so glad they're being held accountable.
No one thought that he might die with all of this drug he's buying, and for one person, like he was buying,
it was way too much.
Yeah, $40,000 on one. You know, anybody that if you gave somebody, and that's what I've said. I've always said this about celebrities: if you have an addiction and you become really, really wealthy, you're as good as dead.
Yeah, it's curtains
because you can't. No one's going to stop you, and you have endless money, and that's what usually stops most addicts. Is they run out of money, they get desperate, they end up in jail,
and they're like, "Oh, I guess I got to get clean now."
Yeah, but if you have endless money and you have people who are buying your shit, and in the secrecy of night,
I have seen interviews with him when he was clean, and even when he was clean, he was so ill, Stephanie.
Yeah.
I just don't know. How
really,
Ben like
Affleck reminds me of someone who could end up in that position, except for Ben is just an alcoholic, not just.
I will say this about the J-Lo Ben Affleck divorce thing. I have decided that J-Lo has nothing to do with this.
No?
I don't think she's the reason they're not together. I think it's always been Ben. I think Ben is an addict and he is not healthy. And I think that he is charming. And I do think he cares about her.
Oh, I do too.
But he's too ill to be a good husband for her.
The man hates fame.
He does.
He hates it.
He really does.
They are fundamentally just so cut so differently.
Yeah, and she works like a beast.
Constantly.
And he's just like, I just want to lay down and just drink my Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
Like he doesn't have any interest.
Well, I mean, he can make, he's made plenty of money.
He's an addict, period.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's actively using or not, but.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he looks like shit.
Yeah, he does.
Per the usual. He always, you know what, when they're first together, he looks so healthy.
Yeah.
Because he's trying so hard.
Yeah.
And then reality sets in and she's constantly working and she's constantly doing
so
whatever,
healthy.
And she's a crazy person.
Yeah.
Which is why she is who she is.
Right.
And I don't want to hear the shit talk. I like J-Lo. I don't give a fuck. A lot of people think I'm like, no, shut up.
She's what?
Overexposed, too, not conceited is not the word, just thinks too much of herself, drinks the Kool-Aid. I'm like, you know what? She works her fucking ass off. Yeah. Look at her. Look at her.
She looks great. Yeah.
I mean, she's successful. I don't know. I'm not saying that she doesn't have her flaws, but the reality is that I just don't think this time around, I don't think it's Ben. I mean, J-Lo. I think it was Ben.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I mean, I think marriage is a two-way street. I don't care who you're married to. I really don't see any one person being responsible for a divorce. I wonder if it's more like,
well, I mean, if you have somebody who has a problem, whether it's drinking or drugs, I think that is hard to contend with when you're famous.
I agree. I think period, whether you're famous or not.
I mean, when you have cameras or PR or people are constantly.
You can't hide from it.
You can't hide it.
Yeah.
That's the problem, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're normal, you can hide it for a while. But anyway, I'm just like,
well, no one's surprised by that divorce.
I hope Ben doesn't die.
I don't think he'll die.
I don't think he will either.
He's just one of those people that I kind of feel like would succumb to it, like just give in and be like, I don't care. I'm just gonna drink and I don't give a shit. Yeah, he has the funds. I mean, he's
got the money. He doesn't need to do anything. But he's talented.
He is very talented, and he has success other than just being on screen. Like he produces, he directs, he writes, and some of the stuff he's done, I didn't even know he was responsible for.
He's really good.
So I think he could. He's one of those guys that could probably keep doing it and keep making money. Like he wouldn't just wither away. And
yeah. I just think, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the person. Obviously, I don't know him, but I do hope that he finds whatever peace he's looking for.
Well, he has children, and and I think he does have some people who genuinely support him.
I think that I had read that both the Jennifers had gone to his house. Like maybe he was in a funk, and they were like, "Yo, get your crap together." Maybe that's why she didn't file right away. And who knows?
I don't know. You'll know. We'll never know. I think the only reason why she didn't file right away is because they were setting up the PR.
Probably.
I mean, they wanted the speculation and the inevitable divorce to come as a surprise to no one.
Sure.
Because they didn't want all the fanfare around it, like shocking. Oh my God, they're getting divorced. We all knew it was coming. It was a matter of time.
We did.
So there wasn't a lot of hoopla over it when they did announce it.
It was very quiet.
And I think that he let her file. It's very common to like, look, I'm not even going to fight. We both want a divorce, but you can file that way. Everybody thinks it was you and not us. And you can come off as the victim. It's fine.
I don't think she comes off as a victim.
Oh, her posts lately have been a little victimish.
She did a bunch of thirsty posts.
She did, and she's like, "Oh, what a summer it's been." Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, she's doing all that. Feel sorry for me thing, but
I don't feel sorry for her.
I don't feel sorry for
her.
She looks
so good.
She looks great.
God,
she looks amazing. The only thing I wish for J-Lo is I wish she would pause a little bit in between relationships.
I'm sure they said that about Elizabeth Taylor too.
Probably
she did the same thing. She married the same guy twice.
She did, but I mean, just for her children's sake, if she was single and she didn't have people that were looking up to her for relationships, then that would be one thing, but like she just cannot stay single. She just doesn't, and she's a serial marrier. Like she doesn't even like get a boyfriend. Like she marries them
immediately.
I'm like, dude, you don't have to marry them all.
I don't want to marry. God, if anything happened from this point on in my life, I would never get married again.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Ever. Personally. I'd be like, no, I'm going to live with my sister.
It would have to be an act of God. It would have to be like one of those things where like, you know what? I never thought I would get married again.
I would marry for money if some old man wanted it.
Money too,
but that's it. Because most men don't want women our age.
Oh hell no!
Unless they want a nurse.
No,
that's it. I'll be like, I'll be your freaking nurse as long as you've got money.
Even the 80 and 90-year-old billionaires wanted, 25-year-olds.
Oh, yes, yeah. They don't want. They're like, what? Do you have a daughter?
It's so gross. I was watching some thing on Anna Nicole Smith the other day, and they showed the picture of her with the dude, and I forgot. I'm like, oh my God, this guy was like the ghost of grandpa come back. Old. He was so old.
I know. It's
I'm
true.
like, but the thing is, jokes on everybody else, because chances are Anna Nicole Smith probably only had to have sex with that man or some sort of sexual contact like a handful of times at best. He's like, let me just look at your boobs. That's enough.
She swears that she loved him. Come on, Stephanie. We all know.
You can have love for someone, but it doesn't mean you love him like a husband.
I just couldn't do it.
She knew. She's like, this dude is not going to live more than 90 days. I'm a goddamn fool if I don't do it.
I know. All right. Well, that's the show, but we will be back with a new episode next week. So thanks for listening. Bye.